This video is all about how certificate transparency works and why it is so powerful from the reconnaissance perspective. And every website you visit has a SSL certificate, and that certificate actually contains a list of all of the subdomain or website and the services that the company owns. But here's the thing that most people don't know, that entire list of all of those subdomain is available for anyone and is accessible by public. In this video exactly I'm going to break down exactly what kind of information is hidden in these certificate and why companies accidentally expose so much information and information about infrastructure. This is part 2 of a 3-part series about the SSL certificate. If you want to understand what SSL certificate are, first check out the first part, or if you want to actually find out the certificate practically, so you will understand all of these in the third part. I will be covering all of that in the third part. And if you are ready to see what information gets exposed, let's get started. So SSL certificate transparency log is very valuable, I mean, for our reconnaissance, because when you perform the subdomain enumeration, like in the previous video we use different methods to do the DNS enumeration. We use the automatic tool. There was also the manual method as well. So when you do that, when you use these kind of method, you might find out some subdomains for the website, but you might miss a lot of them for some reason. Like you might find 40 to 60% of the company's subdomain, and the rest you will miss, right? Because they might be hidden or for some other reason. But with what the certificate transparency help us, and you get a complete list of all of the subdomain, as I said in the previous video about the SSL certificate and transparency log. What is that? So when you query the transparency log, it has when companies buy SSL certificate, it lists all of the subdomains. So when we query that database, it gives us basically all of those subdomain, and there is no way they can hide that. So it's all publicly available, and we can see that. So from that we ask one query, and with that one query, in just 1 minute we get all of the subdomains of that specific target. Right now, let's talk about why how SSL certificate actually work. We need to understand this so that we can once we understand this, we will then actually do the practical of this. We will look for the actual certificate transparency log. So but first we need to understand this, otherwise we will have problem in that. uh, An SSL certificate, as said in the previous video, is a document that contains several pieces of information. These information are like, for the first one is the primary domain, the main domain, not the subdomains, right? It includes that the certificate has primary domain it's issued for. Like for example, it will include techcorp.com. The certificate is issued for that. And then alternative name, or also called as subject alternative name, or SAN. These are basically the subdomains. So this will also be listed in the SSL certificate transparency log. Like for example, a certificate for techcorp.com might have these SANs, the subject alternative names or subdomain. This one right here, this one, admin.techcorp, and other as well, and so much more. Each one of these is subdomain the certificate protects. We talked about in the previous video. There is, if you remember, we buy one SSL certificate and it protects multiple subdomain. Each one will have HTTPS enabled. Like each one is visible in the certificate log. Now another thing the log will contain is the issuer information, the company who is responsible, who actually issued the SSL certificate. So it will have information about that, and then it will have information about the validity dates, like when it was registered and when that certificate will get expired. And also it will have information about the signature and fingerprint. The certificate has a digital signature that prove it has not been tampered, and fingerprint, like it's show that the certificate is not kind of modified, and it has specific fingerprint. From that it can be identified that it is a unique certificate, and actually for a specific subdomain and domain, right? And then it also has information like the log, transparency log has serial number information. Each certificate has a unique serial number assigned by the certificate authority, the issuer company, right? And then the public key as well. The certificate actually contains a public key that's used to encrypt data sent to the server. The Where on the server the private key is there, so it is encrypted with the public key, and when that information sent to the server, it uses that private key and decrypt that information, right? So that is how it works. This we can make a separate video out of that, um, on this specific, it's called on this specific encryption decryption technique. But for now, let's just skip that. It's not our main topic for this video. So these are the information that will be in the transparency log. And this is the example of the certificate that we just talked. That's just a example, simple example. We gonna in a bit we're gonna do the practically as well of on a real domain. So this is certificate detail, the issuer detail, the serial number we talk about. This is the primary domain, the main domain. This is the expiry related dates, like when was it registered until when it will be, and these are the signature and public algorithm key. And these are the subdomains or SANs, right? These are all of them. And so just by looking at them, an attacker can actually see all of the subdomain, the complete list, the complete infrastructure of the company. So in this video we learn why the SSL certificate transparency log are so valuable, because these provide the subdomain enumeration other than methods we use in the previous video, which we might miss some of them, but this actually give us all of the list within minute, right? uh, because of that it's very variable. Another thing, how the SSL certificate transparency log structure is, we talk about what kind of information it include. And if you have any question in this, let me know in the comments. I will explain it to you. And in the next video, what I'm gonna do is we will actually be doing all of this practically on a real domain. So I will see you in that video. See you soon.